Whoa, 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 whoa. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Kentucky Fried Roadkill. I am your host, Evan Pride. You may notice that today's episode is missing the voice of everyone's favorite little rat child, Treyton Blackburn. I am recording it's going to be a shorter episode this week. I am recording a solo episode. Currently, the weather situation here in Lexington is pretty dire. There are several inches of snow on the ground. The roads are pretty terrible. As I understand, they are across the nation right now. I think Texas is really dealing with some shit right now. They got blackouts all over the fucking state. Everybody's cold. Everybody's blaming Joe Rogan for moving there and not using his millions of dollars of wealth to bring back the power, I guess. But anyways, something to talk about here. Let's see. I recently watched the Cecil Hotel documentary on Netflix. You know how Netflix is big into all of the serial killers, and people are really just they're really giving people their murder porn needs with these documentaries. They just released let's see, the Cecil Hotel came out, and I'm gonna shit on it. My problem with these, it's a docuseries, right? And it's one of these that should have just been a fucking hour and a half documentary, because it's not. They don't have the story to stretch it out into 4 hours of a documentary. Documentary? Is that what they're called? Documentary. God, fucking, what is wrong with me? The ice is taking me out. Yeah, Netflix does this thing now where they just fucking stretch out, like, they're interesting stories. Like, it's an interesting story, the Cecil Hotel. Pretty much this girl goes missing, and in this sketchy hotel in downtown LA, where I guess fucking serial killers used to throw slumber parties. And it was this big fucking case, and it looked like a lot of the documentary was like internet web sleuths figuring out the crime, which I think that's what documentaries are all going to be like 10, 15, 20 years from now. It's like they won't have all the B-roll is going to be Facebook scrolling and Twitter scrolling, and they're going to be interviewing people who made tweets that went viral. And I mean, that's what they were doing in this movie. It was like all these YouTubers who had figured it out, and they were just throwing out just disaster scenarios. It was like, what do I think happened to her? Well, the hotel. I think it was a big cover up. I think the front desk clerk murdered her in her sleep. I think they drugged her. There's this really weird clip that pretty much the whole documentary goes off of, which is her kind of talking to herself, much like I'm doing right now. She was recording a podcast, actually. No, she's like talking to herself, and it looks like she's doing all these weird things, and they thought she was on drugs, or they didn't know if she had mental issues, or they didn't know what was going on, but it looked like she was like chilling outside the elevator, and it looked like she was talking to someone, and they're like, all right, did someone murder her? What's the whole thing? And pretty much the end of the story, spoiler alert, is that they don't fucking know. They don't know what happened. Oh, I get the thing that makes it interesting, probably why they made a documentary out of it, is that they found her on the roof in a water tank. And that's where the documentary should have ended, because they don't have really shit to talk about past that. It's all speculation. She ended up in the water tank. They thought they put her in there. I think what happened was she had some mental issues, and she just kind of had an episode where she ended up in the water tank up there. I don't know. I don't know if she just wanted to go for a swim or what. But it was weird because there was this whole thing about the fucking latch at the top. I don't want. I guess you can watch the documentary. I mean, but literally, it's one of those where nothing happens. Like, if I spoiled it for you, I'm saving you your time. It's one of those where they drag it out super long by they recreate all the fucking footage of all the speculations where it's like, well, she could have ran down this hall and fucking her out at like a farm. It's like, we think she was from Canada and a small town and all this. And pretty much you can tell when the documentary is interesting, it's in just normal camera mode. And then when it gets boring is when they put that like SEPA filter over it, that red like glare that all the DC movies are filmed in, that make everything on the screen look like it's one fucking kind of yellow tint color. Like you're watching a fucking movie through those red amber glasses. I mean, it's just, it takes all the color out of the movie. I hate fucking DC movies when they do that. That's why Marvel movies are interesting. I mean, because they're colorful, right? Besides the plot, I guess, and the writing and the actors that they get to do it. Although some actors have been really fucked over by DC. Dude, Suicide Squad was just a fucking it was a Suicide Squad for all those people's careers. I'm gonna Google that. Suicide Squad cast. Suicide Squad. Jared Leto, he hasn't done shit since then, right? He did Joker, that shitty Joker movie. They made a Joker movie before, like Joker, right? Oh, that was Suicide Squad. What am I talking about? I was not a big fan of his Joker, his crazy gangster, all tattooed up Joker. It's very cartoonish. I don't know. I always love my perception of the Jokers very much. I guess there's different Jokers, because there's the Joker that you would want to see fight the Batman, which is like Heath Ledger, by all means, especially my generation. I was born in '98, and I saw Dark Knight. I was like 10 when it came out. My dad just dragged me to the theater. Didn't even tell us we were going to see a movie. It was just like, get in the car. We're gonna go somewhere. It was like a Sunday or some shit. And then I had to sit through the 3 hours of Dark Knight, and I was like, I had all the emotions. I was like, oh, what's this? This looks like a dark, like gritty, like action movie. What it was this? Oh, it's Batman. Oh, Batman, cool. Oh, Batman, this is violent. This is a different side of Batman than I had seen before. Before that, I had watched like those old the 1960s ones with fucking the Family guy Adam West playing Batman, and those were ridiculous. It's he's running around town with a fucking bomb, that fucking one of those big black balls with the stem coming out of it. And it's so funny. He's running around and he like goes to throw it in one part of the water, and he stops because there's like an old lady on a boat driving by, and then he like goes to throw it in another. I forget what happens. At some point he fights a shark. I know that because he has this shark repellent that's just conveniently on his belt. And I feel like all hack comics in like the 90s probably talked about that. So what was I talking about? Oh, so Joker. So there's different types of Jokers in my head. There's the Joker you want to see fight Batman, and then there's the Joker who you accurately think would be a Joker, like the movie Joker with fucking Joaquin Phoenix. That was a great movie. Delved into like it. That's exactly what the character of Joker is in my mind. It's a guy shoved aside by society who can't afford nor is willing to take his meds anymore, and he just is slowly pushed to a breaking point, and now he's crazy, and now he's running the streets, and he's a domestic terrorist or the whole deal. But the thing is, I can't see Joaquin Phoenix, that Joker, fighting Batman. I wouldn't want that. I hope they don't make I hope they don't make that into like a thing where the new Batman movies he pops out, or maybe I'm speaking too soon. He could be a great Joker. Yeah. What what was I talking about? The Cecil Hotel? Was that what I was talking about? How long am I gone on? Like 15 minutes? This is gonna be a short episode. But people don't want to hear me just kind of ramble into myself for an hour, right? I'm not Bill Burr. I don't have his skills. Okay. Cecil Hotel. I mean, I pretty much said what I had to say about it. It's a shitty movie, shitty documentary. There's several of those documentaries out right now that's like a 6-part miniseries that should be just a 2-hour movie. This one they probably could have done in like a 15-minute YouTube video. One of those fucking dodos videos. Now this with the jolly little music behind it. Dun 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 dun. And she was found at the top of the hotel in a water tank. Rest in peace, that one girl, Elisa Lamb. I think that was her name. Rip in peace. We also watched those. A good miniseries was the Night Stalker ones. Those were pretty good. That dude, what was his name? Richard Ramirez. Freaking creepy dude. Would not want to run across him, let me tell you. And the funniest thing about all these, the funny thing about all these murder documentaries is I guess they make modern ones, but all the old ones from like the 80s because Richard Ramirez, he was in the 80s, and then Ted Bundy was in the 70s. They made both a movie and a little show about him, and it was pretty much all just lack of technology. It was all people. It's like that John Mulaney bit. It's like, hey sir, they found a big pile of the killer's blood over here. Gross. Clean it up. Back to my hunch. It was literally, they were just operating off of hunches, and they had some video cameras, but I guess video cameras didn't really come into the mainstream until what? Well, it was like a decade ago. But that Cecil Hotel documentary, that was like from 2013, I guess. And they like cameras. I think they said in the documentary that like cameras were new at that point, and they weren't like half of them weren't on, and like half of them weren't even connected. That's what I always heard about security cameras when I was a kid. It's like you because I would always walk into like convenience stores and start doing the fucking John Wall, do my version of the Dougie in front of that little spherical thing that they had on the ceiling. But I always heard that those weren't even attached to anything. Like there wasn't even a camera over those little black bubbles and under them in the ceilings. They were just there for scare tactics. But now, everything's fucking on camera. They got the Ring cameras now, which is helpful. It helped us. We didn't find the guy who shit on our van, but we were certainly aware of his presence. I guess that's an advantage from like the 70s that they didn't have. If someone shit on your van, you just had to, rolling off of your hunch. Like, I'm pretty sure. We have no hunches. See, that's the thing. We know who did it. We saw a video camera, but we're no closer to discovering the truth of who shit on our van. I don't think we are actively pursuing that case. But the Ring cameras, they changed everything. We watched. I guess this is a serial killer documentary. This is like a what do they call it? True crime. This is a true crime episode. There's a I think actually I think my girlfriend, she actually knows someone who has a podcast called Kentucky Fried Homicide. I was not aware of that before this podcast. I just before coming up with the name of this. Not that they're the same, but you know. But anyways, so they have she knows someone who has. I guess check it out, Kentucky Fried Homicide. It's like a true crime podcast that's all about murder in Kentucky. But anyways, there's another documentary on Netflix called American. I think it was called American Murder, the boy next door, or like the family next door, or a killer lives next door to me, or Honey I Shrunk my fucking morals, or whatever the fucking name of it was. It was and that one. This one is really good, so I won't give spoilers about it, but it's so different from this guy and his pretty much entire family goes missing. His wife, his two kids, and they go missing just like overnight, just out of nowhere, and they have to figure it out. It's a pretty good documentary. It's pretty messed up, but they use the ring cams. Like half that fucking camera or half that fucking movie is ring cam footage. It's like they cut to it as often as fucking the Hobbit movies cut to GoPro camera footage. Whenever they didn't know what to do in those movies, which I was not a fan of, but we'll get into that at a later date. Maybe Treyton will definitely have thoughts on the Lord of the Rings series. I think I've spoken to him about it again or before. This is strange, yeah. Just me talking all alone. I miss my buddy Treyton. He's coming back. Literally it's just a he can't get here to record the podcast because the roads are the way they are. But hopefully the sun will come soon, melt the ice. We will I think he's supposed to come over. I'm recording this on Thursday, the 18th. What's in the news now? Ted Cruz is in a bunch of hot water over living the life that he chooses to live. He he fucking flew to Cancun. His entire fucking state is out of don't have power right now. They're all those Texans are freezing to death, and he just hightailed it to fucking Cancun. And he released a statement. He was like, his whole thing was like, oh no, I was my kids, they had school canceled this week because of Texas being the way it is, and so I just wanted to be a good parent, and they wanted to go to Cancun, and if you're a good parent, you got to take your kids to Cancun in the middle of a pandemic and a winter storm. So obviously I dropped them off, I chaperoned them there, and now I'm on my way back. So what's the big deal about? What a guy. What a fucking guy. Speaking of serial killers, people think he was the fucking Zodiac killers. That movie Zodiac, that was a good movie with Robert Downey Jr. and other notable actors. That was a movie that that goes on for like an hour too long. That's like a 3-hour movie, and the first 2 hours of it is really interesting because it's like the Zodiac killer. He's killing people. They're like, oh, damn, we gotta decrypt these messages. What does this triangle mean? And all this shit. And then, just, it's not a spoiler for the movie. It's just a fact of history that they never caught the Zodiac killer, which was back in like the 60s or 70s or some shit. And so they should have ended the movie like right there. But instead, they there's like 45 minutes afterwards where they're just sitting around the office, just running their hand through their hair, just going like, can't believe can't believe we didn't catch the guy. I mean, he could still be out there. I don't know. But overall, I enjoyed that movie. Um, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Anybody who's listening to this episode is a true ride or die fan. Let's see. I'm just going on Twitter now to see because this is how I check the news. And this is how I think most people check the news nowadays. What are you supposed to do? Because I deleted Twitter off my phone for a while, and Instagram too. I go through phases where I'm like, get all this social media shit out of here. But then you still have it on your laptop, so it's like you're not completely disconnecting yourself from that. But what do people who are not on social media do for news? Do they watch the news? Because you can't get real news from watching the news. Do you go on Reddit? I never got into Reddit. That's one of my biggest regrets. Maybe I'll try to slowly phase out of Reddit or out of Twitter and into Reddit. Because the only justification I have for staying on Twitter is damn, there's some spicy memes on here, and it's literally how I know what's going on. But you always figure if something big happens, you'll hear about it, right? Someone will tell you, and that way you don't get flooded with like dumb news. What's Twitter up to right now? Democrat. It's all politics. I don't want to get too politicky on the podcast. On the podcast. I'll leave that for Treyton. His bleeding heart, leftist Marxist ways or whatever he's into. Let's see. Texas was, or they are still in a big thing. Serena Williams lost to Naomi Osaka. That's pretty cool. Cool for Osaka. End of an era, it seems, for Serena Williams. She has lost the last couple big games that she was in, but undeniably still a GOAT. There was this Twitter clip going around the other day of her. She was I don't even know how tennis works. The scoring is all fucked up. I go to check on the score, and it's 15 to love or whatever that means. There's this clip of Serena Williams just rallying, and it literally was it's playing against her must be just playing against a fucking wall, one of those big racquetball courts, because she just always hits it back. I don't understand. I don't even know how big a fucking tennis court is. So I guess it's a lot of room to make up. But she just fucking, there was this shot where the girl Serena was playing hit it on she hit it to the exact perfect corner where she needed to hit it to get it out. And I assume, I'm a big football fan, so I assume there's a lot more into tennis than what I know, obviously. But to me it was to me it was when a quarterback drops the ball just in the perfect place, like the receiver didn't even know they threw it yet. It just turns its head and it's there. And what Serena was just fucking Deion Sanders, just picking off, just not letting them get a single completion out there. Just fucking, she was a tank, man. She was doing the behind the back fucking racket tricks. How heavy is a racket? Didn't Serena Williams win Wimbledon or some shit? Pregnant? That'd be crazy, right? Doing a sporting athletic thing, pregnant. Must be hard to be pregnant. I think this is probably a good point to wrap up the podcast. When I'm speaking on pregnancy, that's where we fucking come to. So I guess in conclusion, my thoughts are that Serena Williams is very impressive, even when pregnant. Um, she's a goat, even though she recently lost. And then rest in peace, all those people who were fucking murdered by all those crazy ass people in those documentaries. I guess that is the fucking cherry on top of this episode. We will be back next week. I wanted to get something in this week. I'm trying to be consistent with the pod. I try to release on like Fridays afternoons and stuff. So I want to try to keep up that time, but trying to stay consistent with the pod. Just thought I'd give the listeners of this a little something, and we will be back next week with Treyton. I'll plug our email again. If you want to email us with any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, maybe you fucking hate it when we do something on the pod and we never finish talking about it, or maybe you just hate me and you just want to write a very well-worded email letting me know about it. Send it all in. Or no, maybe I should revise that. Send positive things. Or valuable critical feedback. I don't fucking know. Email just with a picture of yourself giving a thumbs up. Just it would be cool to hear from the listeners. So yeah, that's the episode. I will talk to y'all next week, and I will have the good rat Treyton Blackburn with me, and so I will end this episode as we always do with I'll bring it out with something. Hey Paul, get off the roof. That's horrible. That's Cletus from Simpsons. But I love Cletus, so that's the episode. Thank you for listening, and we will join you, or you will join us next week on Kentucky Fried Roadkill.